watching a special NBA Draft edition of Inside Thunder Basketball with Darnell Mayberry. I'm Oklahoman sports editor Mike Sherman, and we're counting down Darnell's list of the prospects most likely to be drafted by the Thunder with the number 3 pick in Thursday's NBA Draft. We're doing this in reverse order of the players most likely to be taken by the Thunder. And Darnell, you've come up with this list of 7. You had a list last year. Was Russell Westbrook on that?
No, unfortunately he wasn't. But thankfully, a lot of other people didn't have him on that list as well. Hopefully we can get it right this time.
Okay, let's start counting them down. The 7th most likely prospect to be a Thunder is?
Jordan Hill, the power forward out of Arizona. He's 6'10", 6'11". He's a rebounder, a shot blocker. He can change the game on the defensive end. He's a little raw, but you give him some time to grow, I think he'll be a good player. As you know, they got a lot of different power forwards on this team, including 2 who weren't even on the roster last year, in Serge Ibaka and Devon Harden. So that's sort of a log jam at that position now. But Jordan Hill is a player who I think could be a possibility there at number 3.
You got him on this list also because you think there's a chance the Thunder might end up trading down, and he'd be a guy they'd look at more if they moved down in the bottom half of the top 10?
Correct. I mean, I don't really see them taking him at 3, but if they did some sort of maneuver where they could move down to, say, 7 or 8 and take Jordan Hill, I think that's a possibility.
Speaking of number 6, is a guy probably more familiar to basketball fans in this state, and he is?
Stephen Curry, the combo guard, point guard, shooting guard out of Davidson. 6'3". He's sort of a tweener. People, there are question marks about whether he can play the point guard full time in the NBA or if he can move over and play shooting guard. I think he's so low on this list. I put him so low on this list because, he's sort of a tweener, and you have to run a system specifically for him. I don't think he's going to come in here with a Thunder, and they're going to gear anything towards Stephen Curry. So for that reason, I have him 6th on my list.
Okay, number 5 is a guy out of Memphis.
Tyreke Evans. I mean, he's another combo guard, but this guy could be sort of your wing player alongside Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant. He can do multiple things. He can score. He can defend. He's long and athletic. I really like him. I think the Thunder is impressed with him as well.
Okay, anyone for this year's Russell Westbrook at number 4?
I'm going to go with DeMar DeRozan. I mean, 6'6", athletic, one of the best athletes in the draft. I mean, if you put him next to Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant, you have a terrific trio on the wing when they get out and run in transition. DeMar DeRozan has a few holes in his game right now, but he was only a freshman at USC last year. He needs to work on his jump shot, but he can fill the lane and he can finish. That's an important thing on this team.
A guy who's a little bit of a sleeper, but also a guy the Thunder came in for an individual meeting. Didn't work out against anybody else. Be interesting to see what happens with him. Okay, the draft's one big man comes in at number 3 on the list of players most likely to be drafted by the Thunder. Your guy?
Hasheem Thabeet. I've written a lot about Thabeet, the 7'3" center out of UConn. He comes in, he can give this team exactly what they need: rebounding, shot blocking, a defensive presence in the middle. That's exactly what the Thunder needs because Nick Collison and Nenad Kirstic aren't that type of players. What they need is a shot blocker, someone who's going to protect the paint. Thabeet does that.
Why isn't he number 1 on this list?
I just think there's a lot of question marks about Hasheem Thabeet. Can he play offensively? How good can he be on that end of the court? Does he play with a motor? Does he have heart and passion for the game? So there's a lot of questions about him. If he can develop, I think that he can be a terrific player. But a lot of people think that number 3 is really too high to take a shot blocking and rebounding specialist.
Okay, we're down to the last 2 players on your list. And this is the guy you see most associated with the Thunder on some of the more credible mock draft lists, and he is?
Ricky Rubio. I mean, the Spanish point guard out of Spain, 18 years old, been playing professionally overseas for the last 4 years. Here's a guy who's got a lot of question marks about, the buyout situation, whether or not he'll be able to come over and play in the NBA immediately. But no one really questions his upside and his potential. His abilities to set up his teammates and be a playmaker on the floor are unquestioned. He's a very good leader at such a young age. I think that's what's most intriguing about Ricky Rubio. I think the Thunder could take a chance on him.
And the reason he's not number 1 on your list is maybe the fit. They had a point guard they took last year in the first round.
They took Russell Westbrook. I think Russell Westbrook, they think he's the point guard of the future. I think they're going to continue with him before trying to select another point guard.
Okay, and finally, we get to play David Stern. I'll start and you finish. With the 3rd pick in the 2009 NBA Draft, the Oklahoma City Thunder selects
James Harden from Arizona State University. Look, James Harden is a guy who's he's multifaceted. He's very polished at this point in his career. He did a lot of things for his team last year. He's a 6'5", 6'6", maybe shooting guard. He can play multiple positions, defend. He's long and athletic. And he has a maturity about his game that I think Sam Presti really likes. You put him next to Jeff Green, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, I think you got something special.
You got some knocks on him. He didn't have a good NCAA tournament, and there's some talk that he's not very athletic. He's debunked at least one of those.
Yeah. I mean, he showed up at the NBA draft combine into the Chicago pre-draft camp and really showed that he has a 37-inch vertical, I believe. His lane agility drills weren't that impressive. But some people compare him to Brandon Roy, sort of that sneaky athletic type of guy. I just think he's a perfect fit for this team. That's why he's number one on my list.
Okay, thanks, Darnell. That's all for the special NBA draft edition of Inside Thunder Basketball with Darnell Mayberry, but there's so much more on News OK. Evaluate the top prospects for yourself using our video, statistics, and analysis of 35 draft prospects. And then compare your rankings with the mock drafts by Darnell and our NBA beat writer, Mike Baldwin.